Too taboo for kids and sisters before misters?
On this episode of Simply Necessary Conversations.
So let's start out with trending topics. Everywhere, all the time, we're seeing planes crash, it feels like. And some may wonder, are more planes crashing? Or is it just getting a lot more attention because so many high-profile incidents have happened where major airlines have crashed? Because not every time a private plane crashes, a small plane, a student, anything like that is going to make headlines just because it's going to get clicks, and that's just how the media works. So are you scared to fly now? Do you think it's pretty safe and there's nothing to worry about and it's just kind of like the news buzz of the moment?
I'm absolutely afraid to fly now, and I will not be flying anywhere anytime soon. I didn't know that private, like you said, every now and then you'll hear about a private plane crashing, but I've heard about too many commercial flights crashing or glitching or whatever. And then knowing that a significant number of people that work for the aviation administration have been laid off, furloughed, and fired, I will not be getting on a plane because I feel like there's a good possibility they either A, don't have enough people, or B, they're bringing in the B team. And flying is not something I want to do based on the B team.
Yeah, I feel like after and I can't even remember, I guess the Philly crash, the DC crash. That wasn't DC. Yeah, because the Capitol was in the background.
I can't keep track.
Because there was a DC crash, and then right after there was a Philly crash or whatever. But I feel like after that, when the Trump administration made the announcement of like, oh, it crashed because of, I'm not going to repeat the lie, things that he said.
The lie that he told.
But once they said that, and there was this like mass firing, and I feel like no matter what you think of what is happening in government right now, and like the drain the swamp, restructuring this government type stuff, it should never happen this fast, in my opinion.
Yeah.
So I feel like because everything, like I feel like they feel like they need to speed it up so people see that stuff is happening and that they're working and whatever. It shouldn't happen this fast. Like there's a way to drain the swamp. There's a way to see, okay, these are essential jobs. These are non-essential jobs. These people are getting paid to really not do much. These people are getting, like, there's a way to do that in a seamless, timely, organized manner. And I think it's causing a lot of, like, fear-mongering is the wrong word, but I think it's causing a lot of people to be scared.
No, I think fear-mongering is absolutely the right word. Like, I think it's intentional, and it has been said that a lot of it is let's set a whole bunch of fires so that while everybody's busy trying to put out all these different fires, they're not paying attention
and it just
to
makes
what's really happening.
I'm assuming that they're saying that the people that they're firing in terms of the aviation people aren't essential, or they don't have anything to do with like the traffic control or the flying of the plane or whatever. But like as American people, how do we know who's getting fired and who's not getting fired?
We don't know. They have taken,
because I don't think there's enough transparency.
Yeah, they've taken an approach of, oh, look, there's a spot on your skin. It's cancer. Let's amputate your arm. Like they're not taking their time to. There's no way possible that they're evaluating these jobs that they're eliminating and these people that they're laying off in a thoughtful way. Their methodology is very, very haphazard. They are not thinking anything through. They're not finding out, okay, what is it that this employee does? How important and significant is what they do to the grand scheme of things? So, because I know that there's a lot of government waste. I worked for the government in a certain kind of way a little bit at one point in time. I know that there's a lot of government waste, and I'm all for getting rid of government waste and saving taxpayers' money. If people are sitting at home collecting a check, not doing a job, I'm for getting rid of those people or they need to find work elsewhere. But what I'm not for is you just going in like a bull in a china shop and just firing people randomly and then figuring out like they did in one case where they fired a whole bunch of people. I forget which agency it was, and then realized they needed those people. Yeah. But because they were in such a hurry to fire the people and revoke their access to their email and all that was affiliated with the agency that they were working for, when they then realized they needed those people, they were not able to contact the people to tell them to come back to work because they had revoked their access to their email. So they couldn't even email the people and say, hey, it was a mistake, come back. They're having to tell people that they hadn't laid off yet, can you please contact these people and let them know that their job is important and we need them to come back. So And then on top of that, from what I'm hearing, a lot of the people that are doing these cuts, some of them anyway, are benefiting from the cuts. So you cut and save the government $50 million over here. But over here, you earned $1 billion because of some tie you have to whatever decision that you made. So, or having somebody that has a stake in the game where they have government contracts deciding that, okay, we're going to get rid of this agency. And now, because we got rid of this agency, the contract that you had now is more lucrative for you because now your agency that has a contract with the government can take over those jobs that were originally held by, government employees. So a lot of suspicious and unkosher things are happening and going on, and people that are not tuned in need to tune in. I definitely
think there's too many people that have no business being involved in government have too much control over what's going on. No matter what your views are, whether you think more conservatively, whether you think more liberally, we should not have someone. And this is a very conservative take for me, but we should not have someone that's not American running America.
Exactly. Because, well, first, I'm not going to tell you how to feel, what to think, what to do, but I'm going to ask that if you care and want to be informed, look up Doge, D-O-G-E. Some people are calling it doggy and making fun of it and mocking it, but look up Doge. And then look who the members of Doge are, if you can find that out, because we still don't definitely know who that is. And see that in some cases it's been reported. I don't have factual information because I'm not tied into it. But it's been reported that people as young as 19, which means a click ago they were in high school. And 19-year-olds, somewhere between 19 and 24, are the people, the primary members of Doge who are making a lot of these decisions.
And I don't have a problem with young people being involved in government
because there are some geniuses.
I think young people should be involved in government, but it's not giving qualified.
Yeah,
it's not.
So like if you got a 19-year-old that has no historical background, they have no training in politics, they have no training in government work, they have no they're a computer programmer. They're a computer programmer and they're smart and they know how to do stuff. That 19-year-old, that 20-something-year-old has no business having access to our top government secrets. They should not have access to people's social security information. Yeah. They should not. So I think look it up and then govern yourself accordingly.
Is we're entering a new age of technology and we're entering a new age of how politics, it's almost like everything that we thought about the government, throw it all away. We're starting.
Yeah, we're just going to trash everything.
I feel like people on both sides wanted to, in a certain type of way, reconstruct the government and start over again. Yeah. And the way that is happening is just like
it's the methodology. It's the methodology. And then also there is a underlying current of possible corruption. And I'm gonna say I don't know what other people think. The way that they're going about it, the decisions that they're making, because there has been some reporting that if you supported the previous administration and were not necessarily friendly to this current administration, you're automatically on the chopping block, no matter what your qualifications are, no matter how well you were doing your job. So don't sleep on this, America. You have a citizen of South Africa that is not an American, cannot ever hold office, at least high office in America, because he is not a citizen. He is exceptionally wealthy. And so he, in some cases, I think, and people have speculated, have bought the silence of some people that could stop some of what is happening and that know better, but they are benefiting financially, so they're keeping quiet. So you got a non-citizen, non-elected individual making huge decisions for a country that maybe he is not even loyal to. We don't know. And I'm not going to say that he's not loyal to this country, but he could very well be intentionally sabotaging this country. I think if there
were some people back in the day, back before I even really, was clued into politics, but I remember it because I obviously will remember it. But if back in the day we were questioning President Obama for being half African, but we're not questioning this.
Yeah, and he was only half African genetically. He was fully American. Fully American.
So it's just like, it's a little like...
we had a problem and wanted to see the birth certificate of someone that had an American mother happened to have an African father, but he was a U.S. citizen. Now we got someone that is clearly known and fully known that he is not a U.S. citizen. We know that he has a stake in the game in a certain kind of way because he has all kinds of government contracts.
I don't think we should be, the way that things are going, I don't think that we should ever be aligning religion, wealth, and non-American values in the American government system that we have.
Right.
And that's never, even back when people that look like us didn't have rights, that's never been what America was about.
Yeah.
So it's very, to me, it's strange
sketchy
to see how many people are not taking they're not concerned with what's going on. Like, it's just like,
Do yourself a favor. Go on YouTube and Google Schoolhouse Rock. Look at the 3-ring government video because it's a cartoon and it's meant to educate kids, but apparently there's some adults that need to be educated. We have 3 arms of government. We got the executive branch, which is the president, the vice president, that whole White House group. We got Congress, and then we also have the judicial, which is all of our lower courts and the Supreme Court. They're supposed to be co-equal branches of government. Co-equal, meaning they check and balance. It's called checks and balances, people. They're supposed to check and balance each other. When it seems like most of the power is being given over to the executive branch, Congress is not stopping some of the stuff that Congress normally would stop. The power of the purse, as they say, is always supposed to lie with Congress. Congress is supposed to decide how governmental funds are spent. That's not happening. The Supreme Court is supposed to decide whether the laws are being followed and make decisions. They're not supposed to make laws. They're supposed to rule as to whether the laws are being followed or not. Right now, for one of the few times ever, the executive is under a certain political party. The Congress is the majority of a certain political party, and the Supreme Court is leaning heavily. And let's not forget,
a lot of the states
into
are also
a certain political party.
Way.
So we got all the power concentrated on one political side.
And I don't think anyone that knows anything about history or politics, I don't think I personally, I never wanted one political party to be in charge of everything.
You need to have that balance.
There's going to be radical people on both sides. There's going to be people that have good ideas and bad ideas on both sides. So regardless of whether you wanted to vote him in or not, we should not all have everything should not be conservative because there's not going to be any balance.
And even if
whatsoever.
it was, I could almost now, because I could almost be okay with all the power being in the hand of one political party if they were acting in a rational and logical and unbiased way.
Yeah.
The problem with this is not that all of the power is concentrated on one political side. The power is concentrated on one political side, and then two branches of the government are not doing their job. They're ceding their power to the executive. I feel like it's
concentrated on one, but it's also concentrated on 1/2 political people.
Yeah. Well, yeah, and which
like I feel like is a very dangerous game to play.
One of the biggest. We got that going on, and then we have what is seeming to be a co-president. Was seeming to be a co-president that was not elected, and that is not a citizen of this country. And like I said, ruining the United States for him cost him nothing. He can go back to South Africa and live happily ever after. He can go anywhere in the world.
He can go to Mars. That's how much money that he has.
And here's the thing too: when he is doing all these things to cut government spending and to save the government, how about you are a multi-billionaire?
I don't understand.
Why are you not filtering some of your money into these problem areas?
I don't understand why he cares so much. He's rich. He don't. And in the words of Mean Girls, you don't go here. Yeah. Why do you care so much?
Yeah.
And also, I feel like if he truly, out of the goodness and kindness of his heart, wanted to make a difference, slide me a mill. Like, you have not even just dollars.
If you're saying that,
no, I'm just saying.
If you're saying the government, meaning him, not you, but if he's saying that there's government ways, why not, instead of cutting people's jobs, you got enough money to live multiple lifetimes. You got enough money for all your kids and whoever you care about to live multiple lifetimes,
13,
and never
25,
never be concerned about money. Why not invest some of your money into actually hiring qualified people to examine the situation thoughtfully and carefully instead of just going in? I need to say this. People had upended their lives because they had been hired for government jobs. People might have moved across the country, moved to different places in the world because they got government jobs. He came in, him and Doge, and fired those people without warning. In one case, the highest ranking female in the military was fired. Typically, when something like that happens, when government switch over from one party to the next, it happens. But those people are normally given 60 days to move out of government housing to get prepared. They gave that lady not 60 days, not 30 days, not even 3 days. They gave that lady 3 hours to vacate her house and get all of her stuff. That's ridiculous for any situation, but it is absolutely ridiculous for a person that was a high-ranking military official. They have also fired a lot of the high-ranking people that are essential workers, essential to the functioning of the military and the government are being fired, and there's nobody stepping into those positions, leaving us vulnerable to other countries.
I think anybody that respects the military should be concerned. Anyone that's talking about back the blue should be concerned.
Yeah.
If you care,
you can save all those lives if you're going along with this.
I feel like if you
that.
care about America, you should be concerned.
Yeah.
That's all I'm going to say on that.
Circling back, no, I will not be flying. I will not be doing anything that can pop that I'm aware of could be affected by this particular administration.
Because now we're not in WHO anymore. So like, what is happening health wise?
And this is the fun part, America. This is the fun part. So I'm not flying because I don't trust the aviation system right now. Not that I don't trust the people that were in the jobs.
I trust the pilots. I don't trust that
I'm not
everything
flying.
is going.
They're also trying to get rid of the United States Postal Service and bring that under the executive branch and all kinds of crazy stuff. So now we can't leave, which I think is intentional possibly. They are kind of taking over. Allies of this particular administration have taken over the social media platforms in a certain kind of way. So now we can't communicate through social media. Then if you take over the U.S. Postal Service, travel and communication is going to become difficult. And that is intentional. If you want to, and I'm going to say it straight up, if you want to enslave a whole nation of people, cut off the ability for them to travel, cut off the ability for them to communicate, also make it so it's difficult for them to get food and essentials. And now you got people that are at the mercy of a handful of oligarchs, a handful of wealthy people that can't do anything but deal with it. But I tell you what, I believe in a all-powerful God. I'm going to be good. I'm going to be good. The rest of y'all, do what y'all got to do.
Well, off of politics now, on to a controversial subject, but arguably less so. Let me put y'all on. There's this new kids show that's on Disney Plus / the Disney Channel. Shout out to the Disney Channel. I miss those days. Mm-hmm. But it's called Moon Girl and Devil Dinosaur. And it has caused some online controversy because one of the episodes basically focused on a young girl getting her period. And I'll just read the caption from this BuzzFeed post. It says, Marvel's newest animated series, Moon Girl and Devil Dinosaur, has caused online conversations about what topics are appropriate for kids' consumption, specifically around girls getting their periods. In a recent episode titled Full Moon, the main character, Lunella, gets her first period. Despite Lunella being a little afraid and worried about it, her mom treats it as a celebration as she prepares her daughter for what to expect. So a fan account shared the clip from the show, and it got a lot of backlash because I guess people felt that it was inappropriate to show young kids. My take on it is half the population is going to get their period. Mm-hmm. It's a natural. It's like peeing and pooping. I'm being so serious. It's something that women cannot control. So I feel like saying that a kid can't see it is just like, why? There's nothing sexual about it. There's nothing explicit about it. I don't think it's inappropriate. It's just something that naturally happens. It's just like a kid learning how to use the potty for the first time. There's shows that teach kids how to use the potty. There should be shows that teach kids about periods. And I also feel like boys should know that periods are a thing because they're going to have sisters, they're going to have mothers, they're going to have, they're going to have women around them where they might see a pad laying around and they don't need to think that, oh no, that's so scary, that's so whatever. So as a parent, as an educator, as someone that had to teach me what a period was, what do you think about it?
My first question is, what age group is that show targeted for?
I mean, it's on the Disney Channel. So I would
but okay.
It's not Disney Junior. It's
okay,
Disney Channel.
So there's Disney Channel, which I think is anywhere from
I would say
tweens on up, or even maybe upper elementary school.
I was watching the Disney Channel at like 6.
So, but here's the thing: who is the show targeted for? Because there are the kids that are going to be watching the Mouseketeer, what's it, the little Mickey Mouse show, whatever.
Mickey Mouse Club?
Yeah, Mickey Mouse Club. There's that age group. that show should not be airing at a time when that's the primary audience, because that age, that kids that young are not dealing with puberty. They're not. So if this show is airing at a time when kids, I would say anywhere from 6th grade on up,
I don't even think it has to be that old, because some kids get their period at 8.
Okay, and I get that. There are some anomalies which are becoming,
it's not even really an anomaly.
Which is becoming less and less an anomaly because we got food after different things. Girls are reaching puberty a lot earlier. My thing is this. I think everything should be taught in an age-appropriate way. I think everything should be taught in a timely fashion. And I do know that there are some situations where kids don't have parents and guardians that are going to do things in an appropriate way. So that's kind of where TV sometimes does a public service. But I also feel like it should be a parental decision. But see, that it brings in a whole lot of different things. Because if you're a parent, you should know what your kids are watching. They should not be set
if you don't want them to watch
blindly in front of the TV. You should know what your kids are watching at all times. You should decide what they can and can't watch, and you should be aware of it. And I often feel like, I know everybody can't do it. I'm not judging you. I was a work from home mom at the time that you were growing up. So whatever you were watching, I was also watching. Even if I wasn't actively watching it, I was in the background doing something while you were watching. You were never left in front of the TV unsupervised. I know everybody can't do that, so I'm going to put that out there. But if something like that comes on TV and you don't want your kid to watch it, the simple thing to do is to change the channel, have them do something else, whatever. There's that. But I also feel like there are certain times that to do things that are more opportune than others. So like if in that early morning hours when older kids, school-age kids are off at school and most of the audience is going to be preschool-age kids, that's not the time to show that show, in my opinion. That's not the time to show that. Now, if you're talking about after school hours when the predominant viewership on Disney is going to be age-appropriate kids that may be about to reach puberty or that need to be aware of puberty, then that's fine. I just feel my question would be, when does it air? What is the target audience? Because it's the same thing as you're not going to show sexually explicit things in the middle of the day.
I don't think a period and sexually explicit things are the same thing. I understand that,
but at the same time, there are some kids that will see that and it's going to bring up questions. And if they're not in a situation where somebody's ready to answer those questions.
Oh, like every girl gets a period. Like that's not, what question, that didn't really bring up questions for me. It was just like, okay.
Well, intelligent kids, when they see something, are going to mimic and or want to know what it's about. I'll give you an example. There was a episode of, I think it was Sweet Life of Zach and Cody, or maybe it was That's So Raven, one of the Disney shows, because you were a Disney kid, very much a Disney kid. So there was an episode where the mom said to one of the little boys, I think it was Zach or Cody, whatever stuff, she was like, cop a squat on that chair over there, blah, 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 blah. And she went, the show went on. So later on, after the show was over, it might have been a couple of days, I don't know. You used the phrase cop a squat, da, 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 and then I kind of laughed. And then you came back later and said to me, what does that mean? So you picked up something you saw on TV, you used it, and you used it in a proper context. But even with you using it in a proper context, you didn't even know what it meant. You just knew that it made sense to say at that time. And kids tend to do that. So whatever they see on TV is going in here. The question is it going in here in the right way? Do they have accurate information? Do they have age-appropriate information? So I've always been of the mind, kids need to be told about anything that they may encounter or experience, but they need to be told at an age-appropriate time.
But I feel like we're putting a lot of weight on the concept of a period when it's literally just a period.
It is a biological function. It is something that is not preventable. It's something that's going to happen to the majority of the female population.
On the same level as pooping and peeing, like I said.
No, it's not. You know how I can tell you where your flaw in logic is with that? You're born pooping and peeing. You're not born with a period. It comes at an age-appropriate time, so you should be taught about it at an age-appropriate time.
I feel like you're looking at it from the perspective of when you talk about the period, you got to talk about sex. You got to talk about being able to have kids.
I'm removing sex completely from it. And I was very liberal in a certain kind of way with your upbringing, making sure you knew stuff. I would tell you stuff. I think I told you about puberty well in advance of you reaching puberty because I didn't want it to catch you by surprise. My point is, I didn't start when you were a toddler telling you about it. I started telling you when I knew it was imminent.
I think if I was a toddler and I was watching that episode of them, it would be like, okay, there was a lot.
You're gonna want to know what they're talking about. There was a lot
of things on shows that, for instance, I go back and rewatch old, shows from 2002, 2003 all the time. There were things that I was watching as a kid that.
It went over your head.
Went over my head.
And I get it.
And then I look at it now and I'm like, oh, they were talking about.
Okay, and that's fine. But every child's different mentally, developmentally. there's differences.
But I feel
some kids
like,
they're gonna hear that and it's gonna mean nothing to them. Other kids,
I feel like you're looking at it from the perspective of you were a stay-at-home mom, you could watch everything I do, whatever. Majority of kids are watching adult TV, whether their
and
parents.
That's not a good thing.
Well, I'm saying, let me finish. They're watching adult TV. So they're gonna see stuff regardless. So I think seeing it in a controlled, childlike way isn't that big of it. Like, it's not that inappropriate.
I think you just made the opposing argument for everybody because there are so many kids that are going to watch TV unsupervised. Let's just say kid is watching that program unsupervised. They see the whole show, they hear that whole conversation, whatever. So their parents don't even know anything about that.
No, my point is that adult TV is going to be on, like the regular channel. It's just going to be on. If you have a TV, it can be easily accessible no matter what. Parents are going to watch stuff in front of their kids because they don't have time to sit and make sure they're in there. Like, they're going to be watching that stuff regardless. So
but two wrongs don't make a right. Like, that doesn't make...
So having a show that's dedicated to periods, that's, I'm sure, geared towards the older kids, the elementary, middle, high school age kids that are watching it. Mm-hmm. I don't think they should not make the episode for fear of a toddler could see it. Like, you don't. I don't think they should not make the episode. They did not make Scandal because, oh my God, a kid could see it. I understand
that, but at the same time, like I said, air it at a time.
Well, that's not the target audience. It was on,
and then also, I personally, and you know, I'm very liberal in some ways, very concerned. I don't think that a TV show that is marketed to kids, that apparently is a kid's show, according to the way Disney is marketing. I don't think that I don't feel that certain issues are their business to air. Now, hold on. If it was public television that was created with the intent to educate the public, if it was a public television show and it aired on there, okay, when your kids go to PBS or, you know, WEDU or whatever, they're going there to be educated about any and everything. The world is their oyster. They can talk about anything. When it's a entertainment channel like Disney, I don't say that they should never do anything that's educational, but I also feel like they should not make that.
But
certain things, I don't think that.
But I
things
feel
that
like
parents should have control over.
I feel like that's kind of ridiculous because the shows that I was watching, they covered everything. They covered having your first kiss, like that, all of that.
Milestones
romance
are going to be covered.
But
I get it.
If romance can be in the show,
I don't even necessarily think in a certain kind of way that should be depending on the audience.
But what we're thinking, Disney Channel is made for, yes, elementary schools watch it, but the prime time that you're watching Disney, I would say, is from 10 to 13. That's the prime time that you're watching the Disney Channel.
Other than the kids that are going to watch Mickey Mouse Clubhouse,
we're not worried about
all
them
of that
because that's not for them. They can go to Disney Junior. People that are watching the Disney Channel are 10 to 13 years old. That was when I was watching it the most.
Yeah.
Over the course of my years of watching it, we covered somebody liking somebody and them having their first kiss. We covered the kid that think they got ADHD. We covered the kid that might have autism. We covered same-sex parents. All of that was in the shows that I was watching as a kid.
And so the moral of the story is, for me, as long as it's positioned so that the majority of the viewers are going to be age appropriate, knock yourself out. But just make sure that that's what you're doing. Then don't overdo it. Stick with, like I've said about other things, stick with the biological facts. Stick with the emotional well-being of the young lady. But don't overdo it.
What I'm saying is if we can have iCarly, Sam, and Freddie, if we can have Sam and Freddie kissing, we can talk about periods.
You can. But for me, with anything that's marketed to the public as entertainment or in any way, if a network can avoid overstepping parental and guardian duties, I think that they should. But educate, entertain, but don't overstep. There's certain things that I feel
I think that comes from a place of privilege because a lot of kids do not. A lot of kids aren't going to have moms to tell them about periods.
Absolutely does.
A lot of moms aren't going to do a good job telling them about periods. So.
This is your generation's version of Are You There, God Is Me, Margaret. When I was growing up, people wanted to crucify Judy Blume for making that book, because that was the whole premise of that book, a young girl coming of age and reaching puberty. It was the book that kind of opened the discussion for mothers in the household with their young daughters that were either about to reach puberty or that had reached puberty. Everybody was all in uproar. They've tried to ban that book so many times, but that book was something that, not to say that kids couldn't sneak and get it, but it was a book that had to be consciously picked up. You had to make the decision to read it or to allow your child to read it. When things are just coming over the airwaves with no warning, no whatever, even something like that. Put you work at a TV network. Put is it a Chiron? What's the thing that goes across the bottom
Chiron,
of the screen?
Thirds,
put something down there that says this particular show is going to deal with some possibly sensitive issues or issues about puberty. And then if you're a parent supervising your child, then you now know that. Then you now know that. Put something up so that parents can make a decision, and or, like I said, just try to make sure that you're targeting the
like
right
most
audience.
things, I feel like this goes back to the patriarchy and policing women's bodies.
Y'all young people in the patriarchy and all of your...
Because it is the patriarchy.
Well, whatever. There are still some old school people.
Why on every turn are we policing women's bodies? I don't understand
We're not policing women's bodies.
We're making something that naturally occurs to young girls as young as 8
that they should not be ashamed of, that is going to happen to them beyond their control.
They should be ashamed of.
Not taboo. It's the same thing as, to me, it's the same thing is everybody has to use the bathroom, but we don't show we don't show people actively going to use the bathroom.
Actually, we do. Blue's Clues taught me potty training.
They shouldn't show it.
No, what I'm saying is, did they not cover potty training on all of the kids shows that I watched?
I don't think so.
Yes, they absolutely did.
I don't think so. They might have talked about it, but I was there for your childhood.
Toilet, they show, they're going to the bathroom.
Okay.
They showed
even
all
if they
of that.
showed them go get on the toilet, they didn't show them what.
Well, we didn't say she was going to take the tampon out on air.
Well, let's hope not. Let's hope not.
Her mom just was telling her about it's the same thing.
I didn't see it, and that's the other thing. I'm kind of flying blind. I didn't see the show. I don't know how they addressed it.
Happened when Turning Red, the cartoon movie, came out, and they talked about periods.
And even in Turning Red, did they really talk about it, or did they just imply it? Was it not very subtle?
I think she had to get a pad or something. Like it was something
whatever
that was like
the case
a natural,
may be,
regular, everyday
whatever.
thing.
I'm never against ignorance. I'm never against censoring knowledge and education. Just make sure that you're doing it in an age appropriate way at an age appropriate time. And I'm all for it. Don't get preachy. Don't overstep. Present, as long as you're presenting basic factual information, I'm okay with it.
I would like for people to not act like periods is just so scary.
Yeah.
And so
and I would prefer that you say menstruation. It's the more scientific
Here we go,
term.
policing women's bodies again.
I'm your mom. I police everything about you. So
a period sounds way less.
Menstruation
sounds like you're bleeding.
No,
a period
it
is just like a period.
No. I think menstruation is a more socially acceptable and proper term.
Nobody in their everyday life is talking about I'm menstruating right now.
Because that's because people are less conservative, and I get it. I get it, but yeah, I'm still old
I don't
school.
care about being less conservative.
I know you don't.
Anyway, moving on to what had happened was someone tweeted, did they tweet this? I don't know. Do we even call it tweets anymore? Someone X'd it? I don't know.
I still say tweet it because I'm never going to X anything.
Anyway, so someone tweeted and said, would you date someone if your friends are against that person? Which obviously caused a conversation. It's, in my opinion, I think that it depends on why they don't like the person and how good of friends they are and how new this man is.
Right.
It's all situational.
Very situational. There's so many moving parts to that.
Yeah.
So, like you said, why do they not like the person? Does that person have a violent past? Do they have an abusive history? It all depends. Are they a cheater? Do they not like the person because they've dated somebody else in the friend group? What is the rationale and the reason? It would all come down to that. If it was just a matter of, I don't like his personality, or he doesn't seem to like me, or he's not friendly enough to me, then you just got a problem.
Because I feel like there are, when you have good friends, they would have a reason. I always have a reason when I don't like my friend's significant other. Yeah. I can give you a PowerPoint pretation on it.
And I'm going to vocalize it, and then you go for what you know.
And I may or may not be nice to them when I see them. Who knows?
Well, I'm going to be civil to anybody. But I don't have to make small talk with them.
Dirty, then I'm going to be like...
and if they did my friend dirty, I'm just going to tell them, I know you did it. I'm not going to censor myself.
I'm not going to
censor myself.
But sometimes, I feel like everyone has had that pick-me friend where they don't like your man because your man don't like them.
Yeah, could
in
be.
a sexual or romantic way, or your man don't feel the need to be overly friendly to them because that's not y'all aren't friends.
Yeah.
So I feel like there are friends like that where people would have to be like, "F you, that's my boo."
Well,
because some people are a little bit too involved.
Yeah.
But for the most part, I feel like if you have a decent friend, I would deep dive into why
Here's
they
the
don't
thing.
like
It's kind of like they say if dogs and babies don't like somebody, they're probably a bad person. If that friend has been a rider your whole friendship, if that friend has supported you through all your ups and downs, previous breakups, parental, family problem, whatever, if they've been there for you the whole time, and then this person comes along and they don't like that person, you owe it to yourself and to that friend to investigate what is it about them that you don't like? What is it about them that makes you uncomfortable? If it's just, I don't really know, then that's when you decide, okay, I'm going to continue to be friends with you over here. I'm going to continue to date him over here.
Yeah.
And then y'all don't have to interact with each other. When I'm doing something with a group and he's involved, if you don't want to come, you don't have to come. Yeah. But I would never break up with somebody just because a friend doesn't like them. But I'm always going to investigate why the friend doesn't like them. When I had numerous breakups through high school, and when my best friend at the time came and said to me one time, "We're going to break up with so-and-so," I start picking up my shoes saying, okay, but why? Because I knew that person would never mislead me. And she was right. She was on the money, and she was, hair was on fire. And we went and we broke up with said person. But I knew that when she came and said, her exact word, we finna go break up with him. Okay, girl, why? Yeah. Like what he did. That was my response.
Something major.
Yeah, it was, and then I knew, and she was right, and she was protecting me and looking out for me, and was, probably one of the people that was just as hot with him as I was. You have to know your friends. You have to know who you're dealing with, and you have to know why. There are other people that might call and tell you things about a person, and it's just because they like stirring the pot and they're up to no good.
They're trying to break you up so they can slide on in there.
In that same story, the friend that came to tell me we were breaking up with the person was bringing information based on a tangential friend, like a friend of hers who had told her, had provided her with the information, which turned out to be accurate.
Yeah.
But that friend didn't tell her for good reason. That friend was telling her so that she could tell me, so that me and the person could break up, because I think that friend may have been interested in the person. Now, did she provide accurate information? Yes. Did what she say?
She was happy to provide that information.
But she was happy to provide such information because she was trying to expedite the breaking up. So different people will come to you for different reasons. You got to know why they're coming. You also got to know, how did you come to know this information?
Yeah.
Like, how did you come to know this information, and why did the person provide it to you?
You can tell, like, if someone is the type, and because we've all had these friends, I've had these friends. If someone is the type to just hate on people, like these are the telltale signs.
Who's that lady that sings that song? They hate our love, they want to see us fall. Is it Queen Naja? I think that's her. She has that whole song. They sometimes people hate your love,
but if they're always a person that they always got a problem with everybody, and then like everyone is a villain, that's a red flag.
Yeah.
If they're the type to go around and every time a guy don't look at them twice, but then they look at you, all of a sudden they went from they cool to, oh, I can't stand them, problem.
Yeah.
If they're the type to go around telling you that everybody is gay for absolutely no reason because they just like lying,
because that person didn't like them,
they're the problem.
Yeah.
Like there's like a lot of
you have to watch
signs.
Patterns. You have to be mindful of who you're interacting with and how those interactions typically have gone, because there are some people that will come and bring you information in the guise of a friend when they're actually just trying to make your life miserable.
And it truly depends on how long you have known the friend and how, because if you don't know your man for longer, then all of a sudden this girl you just met 2 months ago is coming out of the blue talking about, I don't like your man, I really don't care.
Yeah.
You can exit stage
and I
left.
caution you though, I will never, because I made the mistake of doing it, I will never, unless I feel like they're in imminent physical danger, try to warn a woman about a guy. I did that one time and it didn't work out because, number one, what it typically does is going to bring them closer. Like, because he knows that he's up to no good. He's already pre-warned her that
he already got the lies
in motion. So when you go and try to warn her, he's like, I told you she was going to. But see, I will never do that again unless, like I said, now I feel as a human being, I'm morally obligated. If I know somebody is violent or some type of physical threat and somebody is in imminent danger, I'm going to tell you one time. If you don't listen to me, that's your business. But if it's just me and him used to kick it, he deceived me and now he's over there now newly deceiving you. I'm not necessarily going to come and try to warn you because he's going to set it up so you're not going to believe me.
There's been times where people have been like, oh, do you know so-and-so? And I know they like, tried to get with me. And I'm just like, oh, sure. Like,
yeah. And then also just because somebody didn't work with one person doesn't mean. Exactly. Sometimes a person will change for somebody. Sometimes.
If I got proof. If I have receipts, the photo evidence, if I got the screenshots, if I have the like stories and the like then I shall go to you as a woman. And then people
always show you who you are, because if a gentleman, I'm always talking, when I'm talking relationships, I'm always talking man woman because that's the team I'm on. But if he has a history of always starting a new relationship before the previous relationship is over, if that's his pattern, that in itself, that speaks for itself. Nobody that does that chronically is a good person. Now, break up with somebody, it's not working out, and then you meet a new person. It could even be the same day or next day. As long as you ended this relationship before you started the next relationship.
Most of the time when you're in a relationship that's dwindling, there's already
one big moment where it actually ends, but it's been coming to an end. But however, if dude is a monkey bar person where he's holding on to this one before he latches, like if he's monkey bar,
like
if it's always
everybody know you still with your girl, but you flirting with all these other
but
people.
Your girl know it's over, then he is a problem.
Or everybody but your girl know y'all
and then
issues.
Also, last but not least, if he's willing to get with you before properly ending it with the previous person,
red flag.
You better know, boo. You better know. When
you lose,
get promoted. When you get promoted from side chick to main chick, side chick position now open, and it's always going to be filled. Make sure you know that.
Well, while we're still on the subject of friendship, I saw this TikTok, and my best friend actually sent it to me. So I have to ask you, and then I'll give my thoughts. $1 million. You have $1 mil, a milli, as Lil Wayne would say. But you can't talk to your best friend for a whole entire year. Are you taking the deal?
I'm going to step out on faith and say, I'm going to take the money. And as soon as the clock strikes midnight on that last day that I can't talk to them, I'm going to find best friend. I'm going to explain to best friend why I had to stop talking to them. And if they truly are best friend, they're going to be like, girl, hell yeah, you should have took that money.
When she said, shout out to Trapor, I haven't said your name in a while on here, but when she sent it to me, she was like, I would say absolutely not, but you're going to say absolutely. And I was like, you know me. See, this is why we
I'm going to take the money, because if we are truly best friends, I'm not going to. Now, there's some stipulations. Am I just not going to talk to them?
Yeah.
That's one thing. If I got to stop talking to them, be mean to them, do something that's going to make them, I'm not doing that. But if it's just, okay, from this moment on, you got to cut off communication with them, and you can't talk to them for until a year is up.
Look, as soon as Trapor, I appeal to your senses, your logic. As soon as that year is over, I'm sliding you money. Now your med school paid off.
Now we're going
now we're going on vacations galore.
Yeah.
Like we have $1 million to where I feel like
because in my hands that million is gonna multiply. Now we all good.
Because I feel like in that situation, it'll all work itself. Because you did your part of not thinking I was a terrible human being. I did my part of not talking to you. Now we have $1 million.
Now we got $1 million to invest and make it grow. So as long as all I gotta do is just stop talking to them.
I feel like a true best friend, you cannot talk to them for a while and it'll be like nothing has changed.
Yeah.
Like
now they're gonna not only it's gonna gut me that they're sitting around trying to figure out why am I not talking to them? Like what's going on?
I would hope to think that she would know there was a great reason.
So let's put that out there. Best friends. If I ever cut you off like that for no apparent reason, please know either somebody's life is in jeopardy or we gonna be good on the other side.
I would hope. Now there would be a difference if it was like I can't talk to my man, because then you playing with your future. You're really playing with your future. You just gotta
cut him off without
explanation.
That's a whole different thing.
Then you're playing with a whole different thing. Y'all are never gonna get married. Y'all never gonna have kids. Y'all never gonna have your dream.
That's a little bit different.
But with a friend, it's just like there's no obligation of we're gonna have kids together. We're gonna live together. Like
and then that's another caveat too. is me cutting them off going to cause
hurt them in some way,
to be hurt in some significant
other
way?
Than just like emotionally,
other than just
temporarily.
wondering why I stopped talking to them? That's different too. Because if I've been their ride to dialysis, if I've been, that kind, I'm not doing that. Like, no money is worth that. But if it's just a matter of, I know they're financially good, emotionally good, and the only thing gonna be missing for a year is me.
And it says you can't talk. Can you text?
Yeah.
Can you send? Can you post?
I'm gonna figure out a way.
Can you send a letter?
I'm gonna figure out a way. They probably mean no communication, but I know how to find. I'm a queen of a contract. I'm gonna find a loophole. Best friend gonna be all right. I'm gonna make sure best friend is all right. And when it's over,
can I tell somebody that I can talk to?
I was
gonna
say because they said I can't talk to them. They didn't say.
Because I feel like in that scenario, then one of my other friends my boyfriend gonna reach out and be like, "Look,
I'm gonna find a loophole. We're gonna be all right. I will find a loophole." But yeah, absolutely, I'm gonna cut them out. If it means that for the rest of our for the rest of our lives, we're gonna be good.
Because you got to think that, like, we didn't set like $10,000. I'm probably not gonna do that. Like, I can make that some other way.
If it's within my paycheck that I make going to work,
but
not so
a
much.
million,
life changing money is what it would have to be.
That would be very life changing money.
There are certain people that there's no amount of
we all trying to go back to school and stuff.
They can't give me any amount of money to make me not talk to you for a year because life is not promised to anybody. There's no money they could give me to make me not talk to my mom. Life is not promised. Yeah. But a friendship, I can put a friendship on pause for a year as long as it's not going to hurt my friend. I feel like emotionally, financially, physically.
All of my friends are going to start living in separate states soon. Yeah. So it's just like we're already not going to be able to talk the way that we used to. Like, there's already going to be somewhat of a change. Yeah. So let's just take that $1 million. And then all of them are in good health. They're all young. I don't expect none of them to pass.
And that's the other thing. How old am I? Is current friend already sick and not expected to live on? There's a whole lot.
If she was like sickly and then absolutely not.
Because some y'all young people, y'all can afford a year out of your life. It's not that big a deal. If my friend is already aging and I don't know when her last breath is gonna be, no, I'm not doing
I feel like I'm already like preconditioned and used to being by myself because I was by myself for so long, and then COVID happened and I really was by myself.
Well, you were never by yourself. You didn't have friends that you
like that in that way. Like, I was alone, so it's just like I'm already kind of used to not having people to talk to for an extended period of time. So I know how to entertain myself. And the stories I'm gonna tell when I get back to being able to talk, and the stories that we gonna have to tell together when we use this $1 million, absolutely.
Yeah. If it's gonna, I'm willing to do anything legal or moral for a temporary time if it's gonna make my future better. Like, and if I know I have that time to lose. But best friend.
And I feel like if I could tell him, I think me and my boyfriend could come to an understanding. We getting this $1 million for our future kids. Let's lock in.
Other than you and my mom, if I can tell them, hey, we can't talk for a year, but we gonna get this money.
We're both in good health. We both young.
I do that with anybody. I would not do it with you because I would forever regret my existence if in that year's time something happened. Like, I would never do that with you. I would never do that with my mom. Pretty much everybody. And
you also will only be able to do that with someone that. Well, I mean, if you can't trust them not be able to wait a year. Then, because it's like in my head, I would.
Who you dealing with that a year being away from you for a year is going to change their opinion of you?
Okay, you just locked up. Like, you're in like,
or you're in the military. People in the military do it all the time. Their spouses and significant others, they don't have they sometimes don't know where in the world they are.
Like I said, I wouldn't do it for a little bit of money, but $1 million I feel like could change our lives, could change our future kids' lives, could change it could change.
It could make a big difference. Yeah.
So
there's a lot of caveats.
It would at very least be worth considering.
Yeah.
Now, would I be sad and lonely and depressed? Yes. But it would be worth considering for the $1 million.
That's when I'm gonna go ahead and go back to school. When you see me, I'm gonna have the money, and I'm gonna be so much better. And that's when I'm gonna pick up my fitness routine because I know I got this money now. I got me a trainer, honey. I'm gonna be. I feel like
we're using very much Squid Games logic.
Like, I'm gonna be look. When best friends see me again, they're gonna be glad to see me. We gonna be good. So I would do it. I would do it under the right circumstance.
Yes. So on to Gemini Gems.
Okay, so there's been a lot of talk about the flu and different things, bird flu, whatever and stuff. So a lot of places have gone to self-checkout and help yourself type situations or whatever. Think about the hundreds, if not thousands of people that are tapping that screen before you get to the screen. So my Gemini gem for this episode is to, after you've used self-checkout and those kind of things, always wash your hands, have some hand sanitizer, have some sanitizing wipes, do something to clean your hands so that you are not now carrying home the germs of all the thousands of people that have gone through the Publix or whatever line that you've gone through.
Yeah.
Be mindful of the fact that you're touching a lot of public surfaces. Clean your hands, especially during this flu season, because it's kind of kicking up.
And then piggybacking off of that, I feel like a lot of people forget your phone is nasty. Your phone is dirty. You need to wipe it off. Get a Clorox wipe. Your tablet, your AirPods, anything that you take out every day, you use every day is
In
out
the public sector.
in a public setting. And even your car, like how many times do you actually like clean off your steering wheel and stuff?
And the
when you're
door
not washing
handle,
your car?
the gear thing.
And you know, everybody's getting sick. The Prindle.
A la London Tipton, Disney Channel people will know what I'm talking about.
Yes, but you know, just make sure you're clean, make sure you're healthy, make sure you don't get bird flu, the flu, norovirus, none of that.
Yeah.
So with all of that being said, don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe. Period.